Yo, this is Kaedee,
And this is David.
and we are the K&D Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. All right. Okay. Yo, just keep it in from here. I don't care. We are back after a long time. I've forgotten how I even intro this thing, man. Welcome back to the K&D Exchange. We are in exchange number 28. Joy. Oh, fuck, man. I am your host, Katie.
This is horrendous. Yeah, and I'm your
Just keep it in, man.
yeah, man. I'm your co-host as well. My name's David. Like, basically, we've been on a long old hiatus.
Yeah.
Well, because basically, I became a father for the second time, and that has taken up all my time at the moment.
That was completely your fault. So
that was completely my fault. But the thing is, as well, I don't feel bad if anyone's been waiting for an episode and that. Look, sorry, man. Family first. You get me.
Yeah, man.
And I ain't even gonna apologize for that. So I mean, it's been awesome. Little man now is growing so well, and then also our eldest started school as well, so it's been pretty full on for us here. So I think I'm not going to make grandiose promises, but we will be able to get more episodes out in the next in the coming weeks. Hopefully we'll build up to weekly episodes as soon as my little man is sort of on the getting his routines in, and apologies.
Independent, gets a job.
That's it, man. Once you're starting to, contribute to the household and
that rent, that young rent.
Listen, man, he's got to start paying his way. Earning his keep.
Yeah.
So even at 6 weeks old today.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, man, he's little cutie, but yeah, man. With that aside, we are back, bro. We're back.
Yeah. It feels weird. I'm so out of step. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
we are on exchange number 28. I'm so glad I wrote all this shit down because this album in particular could not have done with a pure memory. Just it was cool. Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I like this song. Nah, man, I'm glad I took some comprehensive notes because one, it's been a long time, but two, this album needs that kind of dissecting. I'm just lost, man. But we'll make it work.
Listen, we're meant to be pros at this by now.
It's fine. You get a little rusty though at this kind of thing. It's not like riding a bike.
Do you know what, man? There's one thing as well that I've really noticed. I can't word good at the moment. I'm so tired. I can't do sentences, which is rubbish for a podcast. But anyway, sorry, I keep interrupting. How rude.
Nah, man.
You know what I mean? I just come in. I just stole your thunder. Anyway,
what thunder? But yeah. All right. So this week we are talking about. I mean, we should have talked about this 4 weeks ago, but Jim Crow, the musical, by artist Add-2. If you haven't heard of him yet, get to know.
Yeah.
He released this album in November 26th, 2019. Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, 2019, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know where he's from? Add-2?
No, I got no idea, actually.
Yeah. He had an album called... I cannot remember the name of it. It was there was a song at the beginning called Pray for the Poor, and I can't remember if that was the name of the album, but it's got a really nice cover, and it's just a great album in general. So definitely go check that out, especially if you want something with depth, but something maybe not as heavy as this, but I would definitely say not to sidestep this album. So yeah, this album, man, this is a big one. This is like, if we were to discuss and break down To Pimp a Butterfly, it's of that kind of caliber. Or The Allegory by Royce da 5'9".
I am so happy that you're saying this. Yes.
It's in that echelon of kind of musical, like conscious project, conscious hip hop albums, you know, because it's crafted for that with such purpose and direction and just musicality. You know, if anyone's heard To Pimp a Butterfly, then you know what I'm talking about already, even if you haven't heard this one. If you've heard The Allegory by Royce da 5'9", I think this one is more towards that end of the spectrum. But these are like very conscious, but very like beautifully produced, well drawn out, usually kind of long because they need to be exploring these themes at length. And this is another one to add to that chamber, although this came out before Royce's one. But yeah, so this is a beautiful album. It's very well intentioned. It's so well put together. Now, obviously 19 tracks is a lot to digest. Even though it's still under an hour, it feels, to me at least, it still feels kind of long. And also when you look at the album, you're like 19 tracks. It can maybe, you know, sometimes hurt the replay value, but that doesn't take away from how great the album is. You can have great albums that you only come to every now and again because they're heavy or they're just so, I don't know, there's so much depth to them. Same with certain movies that you wouldn't necessarily watch all the time, whereas some are so much easier to come back to. You know, it's heavy in parts, like some of like Lupe's albums, Kendrick's albums, Royce's albums, like I just said. So, you know, it might not necessarily get a consistent play from me all the time. I mean, I haven't really gone back to it since listening to it for this podcast, but that's not to say I've forgotten about it. It's just, it's not something for me that I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to Tesco, let me put this on. Yeah, I'm going for, you know, do this. Yeah, let me put this on. Yeah, let me put this on while I'm cooking. It's like a time, place, and mind state to be in for me. Correct. To listen to this. Yeah, those three kind of dimensions to be in. Yeah, I think this will probably, I hope it will go down as a timeless album. Maybe apart from a handful of moments or a handful of songs with certain musical qualities that might date it to now. Although we don't know where music's going to go in the future necessarily.
True that.
But overall, I still see this as being timeless. So, you know, it's a more underground project, but I think it will, you know, when people find it later on, they might be surprised, like, oh, this was from 2019. It still sounds fresh. That's the hope for it. So yeah,
I'm so happy. I'm gonna like blow my load straight away. The reason I gave this album to you is because Chris, friend of the show, he said, "Oh, you should check this album out," and I was smitten from the first time I listened to it, and this was beginning of this year, and I always wanted to give this album to you,
right?
Because the first time I listened to it, I put it into Pimp a Butterfly category of an album that I don't need to listen to often, but when I do, I find more and more enjoyment from it. And so I think I've only listened to it 3 or 4 times in its entirety. And
same.
This is for me, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. And I'm going big on it. I think it's amazing. And for me, maybe I'm a bit more, because I feel that way about the album, maybe I'm a bit more forgiving of, you know, some of the things that you might find in it, that might date it. But I think
they're very few and far between.
Right. I think that as a coherent story, as a coherent album, I mean, for me, there isn't a bad. Even the skits make sense, for crying out loud. They have their place. They're great dividers in the album, and I just feel that, you know, the music is accomplished, but the rapping and the intentions behind it, I don't think you're going to find a more coherent album coming out. Like for real. But and we've had a few since we've done our last podcast. You know, Donda dropped, and so did CLB.
CLB,
what does it stand for? Certified Load of Bullshit. Just came up with that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I haven't listened to it, bro. I haven't listened to it, so I can't really judge it at all.
Yeah, I don't think you need to listen to it.
I'm not going to, man. Like, to be honest, like, if I the only reason I would listen to that album is if like people would give us money to do it. Otherwise, I'm not doing it because you'll just hear me rage out. So yeah. Anyway, let's get into this because I'm procrastinating. Cool. My bad.
Yeah, no, calm. So yeah, so like you said, the even the skits and the intros and stuff just really like add to the project. They're not just there to fill it out and make it seem like it's something bigger than it's not. So I don't know if you ever listened to this album called was it called The Incredible True Story, or I can't remember what it was called. I think it was The Incredible True Story by Logic. And it's like a painted artwork of him.
Is it orange?
No, that one is the newest one. No Pressure.
Oh, okay. I've listened to all of his albums very recently.
Okay, yeah. So he's always got really beautiful cover art, right? And he's on a spaceship. He's in the passenger seat, and there's all these people around him. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah. So throughout that whole album, there's these skits where these characters are talking about going to find this planet, and but what's annoying about it is that the skits don't actually add anything to the album, because the skits are them finding this planet and they're on this spaceship, but on their way to find this planet, they're listening to this Logic album. So do you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, but if you took the skits out, you would still have the album and it would still make sense. So why did you put the skits in, if that makes sense? It's like, it's very weirdly meta for no reason. Whereas something like this is it works the whole musical aspect of the whole name. It's not just called Jim Crow. It's called Jim Crow the Musical, and it really lives up to that in its kind of conception throughout.
Did you get the essence of, like, because I got the sort of essence of a stage play, like playing out in front of me when I'm listening 100%. To it. Yeah,
100%.
Cool.
100%. So I like the first track, Welcome to Jim Crow, nice intro, sets everything up. And then Secret Life of Blacks, I've heard that before. But I love the beat. I love the kind of, would you say it's like a jazzy beat? It's like a down tempo piano in there, and some nice kind of drum work in there.
Yeah,
jazzy.
It's got
melancholic jazz.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's definitely got elements of that. Just one thing I wanted to touch on with Welcome to Jim Crow, the intro is just I just love the line, if you live long enough, you get to see things repeat themselves. And I think that is really I think that's quite life affirming, but also quite sad, in the sense that, you know, while the good might repeat itself, the bad will repeat itself as well. So like Jim Crow's done, but it's maybe it's definitely being implemented in society just through more nefarious, underhanded means. But then you live long enough, you'll see it go away maybe, and then you'll see it come back, sort of thing. But in
a different way. Yeah. So I get what you mean. It's like life affirming and sad at the same time. But I guess that's someone who did philosophy, that's like very Nietzschean kind of concept, that you need to have the suffering for growth. You know, you need to have the good. In order to appreciate the good, you need the bad, things like that, you know?
That's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, it's also what DMX said as well. Like, you know, if I have to suffer to get my music out there, then I'll happily do that. Like, give me the pain, you know?
Exactly.
What do you say? Give me the
gym and tear my muscles so that they grow. You know, I'm the whole no pain, no gain thing.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. What was the DMX line?
It was if I have to suffer to make these songs, then give me the pain, Lord. Like, I'll wear it. Something like that. There's some really nice kind of sentiment to that. But Anyway.
Obviously, I'm not saying that this whole Jim Crow thing is a necessity and that we need it in order to appreciate a state of non-Jim Crow. What we're saying is that it's in an overarching general kind of idea in terms of life itself. I mean, if there was no Jim Crow, great. All good. But in terms of, it's a weird duality of life repeating itself and history repeating itself and seeing that kind of pattern continue. But there's just some lines in in The Secret Life of Blacks. It just hit me like Obama picture next to white Jesus. Then white teachers couldn't quite reach us. They couldn't see we were doing wrong for the right reasons. And it's just like
I picked that exactly. I picked that out as well. Oh my goodness.
It's so powerful, and it's like, of course, the white teachers couldn't quite reach us. Of course, they couldn't see we're doing wrong for the right reasons. In places where, especially in America, when you'd have to grow up doing certain things that were considered, I wonder who they're considered wrong by, right? Who's the ones making the laws? Who are the ones criminalizing certain aspects of society and certain activities? It's not a coincidence that marijuana use has been criminalized when it came from mainly minority cultures and things like that, right?
Correct.
So then we're doing things for the right reasons. So feeding my family, I've got to unfortunately go out and do so-called bad things to do this. You've infected our neighborhood with drugs and all this sort of stuff, and now my way out of making, being able to make money and get my kids to not go through this life and escape is to now actually maybe inflict further damage to my community. Unfortunately, it's not even just I'm breaking the law. If anything, it's a deeper thing. I'm having to now feed this stuff back into my neighborhood and my community. But it beats going to college for this long and then trying to get a job for this long when I can make that same amount of money within a month. That kind of thing. I'm forced to do this for the right reasons. All you see is that we're doing something wrong. We're doing something illegal. And I think that lyric sums it up. And there's things like when he's describing when he does the whole, see, this is black like this, black like that, black like this. Like, it's just that repetition is just so well put together. That it's such a good literary device, especially for something like this, where he's like, see, this is black like rap songs, black like trap stars, black like crackheads, black like crack cards, black like better watch your mouth in your mama house, black like I brought you in this world and I can take you out. Spending summers at my grandmother's, 10 of us, baby, watch your hand, ain't no fan covers. Like, it fully speaks to the experience.
I picked that out as well about the being at grandma's house and there's 10 of us not being allowed to they're not allowed to swear and curse and stuff. Like, it genuinely is a very, very it's such a sort of like heartwarming sort of picture into his life. And again, because of the way that the album sort of sets the stage just by its very title, the musical, I was kind of looking at this stage where there were lots of kids and just seeing this family life like play out like in front of me. And it was so sort of such a wicked framing mechanism by Add-2 to have that, because it's like you genuinely have a window into his life just 100%. Through this song. And I could imagine this music being played by a band like on the same stage or under the stage. Just it's one of my favorite tunes. Just the piano, it's
the piano
beautiful.
as well, it's so beautiful.
And
he's just so poetic with it, and I like how in the final part he alternates in the lines between good, what was considered good black qualities and bad black qualities. So it's like black like gangsters, black like my cousin them, black like old soul, black like dropping gems, but then it's black like Cadillacs, black like Impalas, but then it goes back to black like black love, black like baby mamas, black like I was born with rhythm, black like the elders and eternal wisdom, black like I'll be there in 5 minutes. And then it but then it suddenly switches and gets like right down to the core, and it gets just deep, and it just goes black like cop killer N-word and get acquitted. Damn, what's blacker than that? And it's like, wow, that's been infused into the black identity. The whole idea of you'll get young black kids who are just almost by nature now scared of police.
That's it.
Scared, being told, don't do this and don't do that, don't do this and don't do that, don't be in this place at that time, don't be in this place at this time. It's now a part of their blackness, because their white friends aren't doing the same thing.
Yeah, correct.
They don't get taught the same thing. Whereas when they're black, it's you have this extra set of kind of requirements just for your own survival and your own safety. And correct. What's different? The fact that you're black. So it's become a part of your blackness, so, what's blacker than that? As in when he says that in the last line.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then it reminded me that the song is called The Secret Life of Blacks.
Correct.
Which just ties it all in, and it makes it even sadder. you know, because we can see things from the outside, you know, or people can see things from the outside, and then it's like he's telling you like this is what it's like, and he's saying all the different things, you know, like you'll see a picture of Obama next to a picture of white Jesus in a black household. You know, you'll see that duality already there.
Yeah,
you know, things like that. Black like old soul, black like elders and eternal wisdom. You know, there's that kind of cultural kind of thing there, but then there's also the other part, which is, you know, we watch, you know, we watch people who look like us get killed, and then the person who killed them has no consequences, you know. And it's like the whole thing. It's just. Do you think there's a tie into to the fact to the anytime I see that title, Secret Life of Blacks or Secret Life of anything, I think of The Secret Life of Plants by Stevie Wonder, and I always feel like that it's a reference to that. Anytime I see someone say The Secret Life of something,
you never know. It might be. I haven't listened to that in. It's been a very long time, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if there are any other deeper meanings to that.
Yeah.
But I just took it as like a face sort of value.
Face
like
value, yeah.
This is very much like his secret life. You know, it's this is what we do, kind of thing, to sort of get by and survive. But
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's one reference in this song which I'm a Mortal Kombat aficionado, right? I've been there since the beginning, and I love the way he says slow change like Shang Tsung, who's in the first game. I think he's just an enemy. I don't know if you can play as him, can't remember, but the second one you can, and definitely in the third one he's younger and he can change into any of the other characters and just mess you up. Bad character. So I just had to shout him out, like, well played on the Mortal Kombat reference. And also when he says cop killer, like black light cop killer, I think that's a double entendre. Yes, that's about gang violence, but I think Ice Cube had a band and their main song was called Cop Killer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it was like ska, I think, like ska rock, like back in the day. Yeah, I'm sure it was, but I'm not going to check because, you know what I mean. Like, it's all happening at the moment. Judging by the start of this, like by the start of this, I mean,
we're already on rocky roads right now. So
what you tell him? Listen, how long did it take me to get my laptop to work beforehand? Genuinely, the listeners got no idea what kind of nonsense has been happening today. Jeez.
And this was meant to happen last week as well. This recording.
Yeah. Do you know what? I might screenshot and just release like little pictures of our conversations. Just like, sorry, bro. Like, it's usually me just saying I've lost control of the day, and I love the fact that you messaged me yesterday saying, Dave, I've lost control of the day. Because it's true.
I just fully did. I saw a reminder come up on my phone, and while I was midway through something else, and it just said record podcast episode. I was like, fuck, it's 8 p.m. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't swing this. But yeah, all right. Next song, Get Your Hands Out of My Pockets. Add-2 goes in, and I'm saying that as if I can hear the song in my head. I can't. But I wrote Add-2 goes in on this song, and I didn't write anything else.
Oh my gosh. The message is the end is near. Like, it's very, very wow. It doesn't get more, I don't know, more visceral than that. I just love one of my favorite lines in this, bro, is I found myself trying to find myself in the beats that I get lost in. Lost ones thinking they can go around, son. Now, son, cross them out like God's son, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then he goes on later on. He's like, no, Bret Hart, but I'm a sharpshooter. You can be the target. I was like, man, you know what? Like, this is why I love this man, because Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler. He is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Genuinely. Right. But like the fact that he's referenced, I was like, Add-2. Like, the first time I ever heard this, I was like, I love this man. This is the best album ever.
Yeah, no, I feel that, man. I remember hearing this song and thinking, okay, nice. Especially coming from Secret Life of Blacks to this, where he's just actually just showing off. I can rap, and he's just going in. I think it was a good kind of segue then into another like important song, which is like 3/5, the next song. And this sample gets used so often that I get bored of it when I hear it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the song, that's not enough for me to downplay the song as a whole. This is a really important song, and I like the use of the sample in this one. And the 3/5 thing, I actually only learned about what that 3/5 thing was because of this song. So it's like the compromise about how many slaves to free people would be tolerated, or something along those lines. 3/5 of slaves to free people, or something like that.
Correct.
And it's again, it's just some just lyrics in here that and again, also educational, right? Because I actually went and like looked up some of the stuff, and so when he says, no, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, did you know who it was at the beginning of 3/5 talking?
No.
So it's a gentleman, a scholar by the name of James Baldwin. I just suggest, I suggest you just watch some of his like his interviews. I think there's one that he gave in it was either 61 or 71, like at Cambridge University, and just listen to how he talks. He's just somebody that like I would have loved to have had, like, just sit down and just talk to him about stuff, like have a little sit down and a dinner and just listen to him talk, because I find him like spellbinding. As a civil rights activist, as an advocate for civil rights, and just as a human being, like the way that he talks, it was so sort of tender. Not, he wasn't that kind of in your face, Malcolm X kind of abrasive, insanely intelligent, obviously, but Malcolm X was very, very like in your face and very, very visceral and raw. James Baldwin, complete opposite, very softly spoken, and just like every time I hear his voice, I'm like, oh, what a nice guy. Honestly, I do recommend just watch some stuff. You'll like him.
I'm gonna check him out, especially when I listened to this album. Like, I didn't know who Francis Scott Key was, or Jerry Jones, and I looked them up when I was listening. So Francis Scott Key, because he says Francis Scott Key owns slaves and Jerry Jones too, and I was like, okay, I feel like the fact that he's saying this, people must know who they are, and he must be trying to say this to get their attention and say, look, these guys that you know who they are but have not said anything about own slaves as well. Like, what are you going to do with that information? And so Francis Scott Key, writer of the American National Anthem, so that's pretty peak. And then Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys owner, so like a football team or something.
Yeah, that's correct. Dallas Cowboys are
own slaves.
That's crazy. Mad. That's crazy, man.
Mad, right? And there's just some lines in this song where it's like, again, it's the poeticism of it. I love the way he ties these lines together. So things like, white people getting mad, they see us kneeling, not them killing us. How real is this? Can't stand it when you're standing on your own too, acting like they own you. Like the whole kneeling thing, like he keeps that going. You can't stand it when you're standing on your own too. So when when he and people like him, they kneel or stand, it doesn't, either way it's bad, but you can't see what your people are doing, which is killing us. Like, where how is there this disconnect between these two things that we're getting upset over? And just like, ain't shit changed, they're on the same thing. The government and 12, so police, still the biggest gangs, can't be peaceful because you see what being peaceful do. Want me to be like Dr. King, but shit, you killed him too.
Because that's the line,
bruv. The BLM stuff that happened last year, which has been going on, right? It's not only from last year, but all the protesting and stuff, and people were like, Martin Luther King wouldn't have wanted this, man. Why can't you guys be like Martin Luther King? Rah 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 rah.
Yeah, where did that get him? Got him the same place as Malcolm X.
People didn't like Martin Luther King either back in the day.
Exactly.
What the fuck are you talking about? They didn't like him either. But now you're acting like he was like the fucking saint. Like, even back then, white people were like, yeah, you know what, this guy, he's doing it right.
Yeah.
Got killed. Oh, man. And it fucking infuriates me, man, because there's no context to what these people are saying. There's no deeper understanding to what these people are saying.
I think that this song lends credence to what we discussed. I think it was in the oh my goodness, I think it was in the low key episode where we were talking about there's no right way to protest or maybe it's Rage Against the Machine. I can't remember. But there's
yeah.
no right way to do it. Like if you do it like the peaceful way, then that guy's too, people who you're fighting for basically like that's too soft or whatever. And then the people that you're campaigning against are like, well, that at least they're protesting the right way. Whereas if you go hard, then the people you're fighting for are just like, oh my goodness, yeah, this is the leader we need. And then the people that you're protesting against are like, oh my gosh, you're inciting, this and that, and it's bad. There's no right way to protest.
No, there's not. And even when you do it peacefully, you get knocked down. I mean, taking
you get pepper sprayed. Genuinely, you get shot. Well, to be honest, you don't even need to be. You don't even need to be protesting. You can just be sitting in your flat thinking, "Hey, man, I wonder if I'm going to get work. I think I'm going to go to work tomorrow morning," and then you get police busting down your door and shooting you in your yard. Like, exactly. What? Seriously, there's no way to kind of put it delicately. There's no way to protest. So you've just
exactly. No. Sorry, you were cutting out a little bit there, so I thought you'd stopped. But yeah, it's 100%. No, I didn't mean that in a rude way. But yeah, I thought you just stopped your shit. But yeah, no,
cut me off.
Yeah, no. But you're right, because this is something I get into. At least before I started to protect my energy. Was that I would get
wait a minute, is that a Drake reference?
Oh no.
Oh,
if anything, he's co-opted that shit, so no.
But lot of enemies want to take my energy, something like that.
Oh shit, that's back when Drake was in his peak, so it's fine.
Drake is peak meaning shit. Anyway, no, fuck that guy. Anyway, sorry.
Anyways,
let's talk about a real MC. Let's talk about like a real hip hop artist right now.
You will not like his new album, man. Some of the things
I haven't even. You sent me that one song. You said, "I'll check
the Way Too Sexy one."
Yeah, that one. And I was like, at least he's having fun. He's having fun. Which is fair enough.
Yeah,
the song blows and the features are just uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's what I thought would make you mad.
Who's featured on it? It's Future and
Young Thug.
Right. So Young Thug didn't sound like he cared, and Future sounded bored. It's weird.
I mean, I might get some hate for this, but I mean, that's Drake across most of the album. So.
And then there were people. I saw this guy was debating Anthony Fantano about, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Did you? So I watched a bit of it yesterday, and I was like, and Fantano was just like, head in his hands, like, this guy's crazy. And I saw one of the comments saying this guy's put more effort into Drake's defense than Drake put into his album.
Literally, man, literally.
Anyway, no, sorry, I don't want to turn this into we're talking about a proper artist now. Let's talk about somebody decent. Yeah, man.
Anyways. Anyway. So so to protect my energy, I have less of these debates with people, but sometimes, and it's usually the same people, so there's some consistency there. But they, when we're talking about Breonna Taylor, someone goes, "Do you actually know what the story was behind that?" And whatever. And I remember them saying, "Oh, did you know that she was with a drug dealer or helping her drug dealer boyfriend or something like that?" I was like, okay. I was waiting for the part where they were going to justify the police coming in and shooting her. And they just stopped kind of there. All these things keep happening. It's always like, but what? The guy's a career criminal. Or, the guy had done this at some point in his life, right? It's like, what? So they deserve to be killed. Is that what you're saying? And it's just ridiculous, like, reasoning. But, some of these lines actually leads into this, because actually, what we were talking about before about how the government injecting drugs into the community, and then people within that community then only finding a way out by even further polluting the community by dealing drugs and being part of that system so that they can then get their family out of it. It's just this vicious cycle, which, it's not caused by the inhabitants of the community. When he says, Ronald Reagan gave crack back in the 80s, turned black babies to projects from projects. Like, fuck me, man. Like, they turn them to projects from projects. Process, N-word, straight to jail, but call it progress.
Yeah.
Bruv.
Yeah.
Take all the feats that we defeat, whitewash, rinse, repeat. See the lawless make the laws, so all the fallen take the fall. They seen your backs against the wall, my back black, it's filled with scars. I make the whips hit switch, now the whips turn to cars. Said I'm 3/5, forgot the other 2/5 was God. I was like, bruh. That last line especially, said I'm 3/5, so the slave ratio to free people.
Yeah.
Forgot the other 2/5 was God. And I was like, bruv, the power in that line is no wonder, you know. It's almost like a no wonder, you know. The fact that he's saying, you know, I make the whips hit switch, now the whips turn to cars, you know. I mean, it's funny that they call them whips, right? A kind of.
I've always thought about this, right? I've always thought about this. Yes, I think that like so I'm an advocate for not wearing like loads of jewelry, right? And I remember I had this revelation when I was younger. I was just like, wait a minute, black people been in chains long enough. I'm all right.
Sure.
Like, I'm okay.
Sure.
I mean, it's taken me 37 years to really get me to wear a watch. Like, no, real talk. Like, I'm not really somebody person. I'm not like that. But then, like when you hear, you know, like, oh, I'm just in the whip and stuff, and I'm like, hold on a minute. Like when I think about like, it's like an old Papa Roach song called "Between Angels and Insects," and they say in that, like, the things that you own you, and that I think is where the slavery sort of aspect comes in. And that's not a color thing, that's more of a capitalist consumer relationship at the moment. But again, if you live long enough, you see things repeat. So it's slavery, but it's a different type of slavery. It's not physical. They've moved into the mental realm of slavery right now.
But that's so interesting, because that's what, when someone like my uncle who tries to argue that racism is gone now, and now it's just you know, it's like, no, because then he will compare it to, back when we were here, you know, we you know, I had to watch my dad get his turban knocked off his head and be called a Paki out in the street, and you know,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, like, you know, oh, we weren't allowed in certain places purely because of the color of our skin. You won't see that happen nowadays, and it's like, okay, so we've got past that part. That doesn't suddenly mean that the racism's gone.
Yeah,
it's like what you said. You've got to go to the mental part now. You know,
right?
The deeper aspects now, the psychological part. For some reason, it feels like people of that ilk, or from that train of thought, or from that generation, or what, I don't know. It might not even be a generation thing. It could be just from that train of thought. Seem to not understand that there's these deeper aspects to life for human beings. It's almost like if you try and pitch something from a psychological background or basis to them, it's almost like, oh, you're thinking too deep into it. And it's like, bruv, what are you talking about? Like, who suddenly made you the expert that you can just negate all that stuff, all this research, all this, just, it's too much to even go into. Like, it's, you know, things like implicit bias, microaggressions, all these sort of things, you know, the fact that you take in stuff since you're young, but don't realize you have prejudices and biases until you have to confront them. And it's not just racism, you have it for things in general. You know, that's why people get triggered by stuff and don't even know why they get triggered by it at an age of, like, they might be 30 years old and they get triggered by something, and it causes you know, a lot of anxiety or depression or PTSD, but they can't figure out why.
Correct.
And then they go to therapy and they uncover what it is, because it comes from your childhood, right? Because these things stay in there. These people would just try and say that that's looking too deep into things, not realizing that they have these issues also. They just haven't confronted them. They're just okay with just letting it run. And one of the worst things he said was when I shared this video on Facebook about this person being, like, racially abused in a bus. He was like, is this really what passes for racism these days? Because if so, then we've come a long way. And I was like, you know, why are we doing a comparison? Why are you competing for, like, racism was even, you know, he's one of those back in my day type of people, you know, so back in my day, we did this, and, you know, movies had actual stunts, and and, you know, literally he said that to me the other day, right? Now, it might be true, But unfortunately, it comes under this umbrella of all these things that just happen to be better back in his day.
But wait, see Exhibit A, John Wick. Closed case. But anyway.
Oh, is that all like stunt work?
Most of it is. Oh, I think all of it. Yeah. The director is, I think he's a Hollywood stuntman, or was a career Hollywood stuntman. And so, like, what they're actually doing is, like, they use CG to enhance bits or speed it up or slow down. But yeah, it's all done practically. So
of course, yeah, like this stuff still happens. It's just that he's probably not paying attention to that, so he thinks it just doesn't exist anymore. It's just fun. Like it's like one of those old man things. Oh, back in my day, and you can kind of just let it go or whatever, right? But then it's like racism. You're even putting racism under that, where racism was, you're competing for racism being worse back in my day compared to now. You guys don't have to complain about anything. You're just complaining because you're entitled. It's like, what? It's just,
I know.
It's mad. Absolutely mad. But yeah, this was a great song and a really important one, a really powerful one.
See, this is what I mean. Like, so this is why this album is really good. Just the nuances and the layers of depth, and the fact that you've got recurring themes already. We're on song. Yeah. What song are we on? Like, what number?
3.
Exactly. 4, right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Anyway,
and I've already learned so much. Like, I didn't know who Francis Scott Key was. I didn't know about the 3/5 thing. And it's just it just adds on to how fucking terrible that shit was. But yeah, You're Different. Again, this really adds to the whole musical aspect. I think this is the first like proper skit, because you can even hear the audience in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember exactly what the guy's saying, but when he's like, you're different, it's like, wait, is that good? What do you mean different? You mean bad? And it's like, oh no, you're this, you're this, you're that, you're this. And then the audience is laughing in the background or cheering, and it kind of adds to that whole stage play thing that you mentioned before, which I thought was really good, because it helps tie the themes in and stuff. And then the next song, Young N-Words, Maintain. The way this song opens is beautiful. So just musically and just everything. And then I like the again, it's how poetic he is. It's just
Mate.
It's so good, man.
I just have to go back to You're Different.
Yeah.
The line of to be African American is to be African without the memory and American without the privilege.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to go back.
No, I'm hoping you took some notes to fill in the gaps, some notes that I didn't like.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I did for this album. I couldn't not. I was just like, no. This is I'm reviewing it because it's one of it's one of my favorite.
There's just so much though, right?
There's so much. It's so thematically heavy. I mean, I love the fact in this song when he says that, like, you ain't magical, wonderful, or talented, and that's the thing, you're different. You're none of the things that are deemed, brilliant or talented by Western society. However, you don't have economic wealth or historical wealth in the sense of, like, say, the Rothschilds and all them kind of families, right? That ancient money. But what I think that, like, the Black community have contributed is cultural wealth. The fact that we are our own industry, in the sense that the best singers, dancers, a lot of the musicians are just streets above everybody else. And I'm not ashamed to say that. There is real excellence. And you look at the way, you look at the way that we, in which we absorb music, and, like, who's the trendsetters? Who are the best producers? Especially when we're dealing in the realms of hip hop and stuff like that. Like, I fully appreciate that it's a Black dominated industry, but
there's so many other genres of music that are at least inspired or have roots in Black culture, which we didn't even know about, like rock and roll.
Well, like that. Yeah, I mean, like Chuck Berry and them back in the day, they are the forefathers. They are the forefathers of modern, rock and roll and stuff. Elvis was the face of Black music, and that's widely accepted now. Like, and it's true, because he colonized Black music and basically just said, and I mean, to be honest, Elvis wasn't that bad a performer at all. Like, I can see why, like, people would gravitate towards him, but he was standing on the shoulders of black
100%.
musicians. But I mean, you look at for me, like I obviously love guitar music, bass, drums, all that stuff. For me, best guitarist ever is Jimi Hendrix.
Exactly.
No one can touch him. Even some of the stuff that he can do, it could only come from him. It's the only way that I can explain that. But anyway,
Sure.
This is the kind of tangent that this song makes me feel like, because black people are, and whether people want to accept it or not, this is a fact. It's not even a debate. It's a fact that this happens in society, that we are told that we're not good enough, or I've actually had it explicitly said to me in one of my jobs that like I don't know if I'm not going to throw the person under the bus, but they were like to us, so they weren't white, but like to us, that lady who happened to be black is not attractive. And I was like, you can't speak for everybody in that, in your, you know what I mean? But I've actually had it said that, that you're not attractive. Mad. And I'm like, the woman that we're talking about is stunning. So, but anyway.
But saying to us, it's trying to say something about like us as a group. Okay, so what's the difference between us and the group, like us and that woman? Like why is there this blanket kind of, we don't find her attractive, or she's not good? It's just people think that they can talk in this coded language and we won't hear it.
Yeah, like, correct. I was shocked when that was said to me. I was like, right, okay. You know what, guys? I'm all right. I'm going to leave this company. So I did.
Bro. Yeah. But yeah, do you know what's interesting when you're talking about Chuck Berry? I heard this thing the other day. Well, when I say the other day, it was probably sometime like last year. So on MJ's album History, he has a song called "Come Together," which is a cover of the Beatles song. Catalog. Yeah. I heard someone saying that that song originally came from or was inspired by Chuck Berry and a song that he had done, and they took the song or something like that, and then the Beatles version became famous, and this was Michael's way
of basically giving him the middle finger.
Yeah, and putting the black artist back on, giving the ownership of the song back to a black artist, aka himself. Because I mean, he washed the Beatles on that. I've heard both versions, right? And
Michael was a business machine. What's
bro? Yeah, I mean, people underestimate that aspect about him, but I mean, I think he used to he saw this thing happening as well. He gave that speech. He gave this speech, I think, a few years before he died, after Invincible came out, where he was talking about if you go into the library or go into this shop here or this place here, you'll see all these pictures of white artists as the face of blues, of rock, of this or of that. But these were all genres and all forms of music that were founded by black artists, right? And but these are they put white artists as the face of them, right? And then he lists all these dances and says all these things. These all came from black dances. These all came from black artists. He and this was a speech that he did. Like, you can find it on YouTube, and it's quite famous because it's the one where he says, he says, "I know who I am. I look in the mirror. I know I'm black," right? And obviously he looks the way he looks, but he's saying something deeper there. Right? It's like, I know where I'm from. I know where my roots are. They see me on paper as black. Doesn't matter how I look on the surface. To them, I'm still black, right? And it's he brought out catalogs of people like Sly and the Family Stone and Kool and the Gang and all these things because they had such significant cultural importance to music and to the music that he loved, and James Brown and people like that. Which, funnily enough, actually, I think this is a James Brown drum break on this song that is used because you can hear that oomph sound, right? Yeah. I think that's his voice. Yeah. I think it's the funky drummer one that gets used quite a lot, that drum break. And I love the beat on this song. So, I'm not surprised it comes from James Brown. But yeah, I love the way Add-2 kind of puts, again, poetically puts the stuff together, when he says, "I'm being guided by the sun, is it Jesus or Nas?" because Nas was calling himself God's son.
Godson. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like what J. Cole would say, you know, that Nas wrote the Bible. I can't remember. It's on the song "Let Nas Down." Tupac was something, but Nas wrote the Bible, something like that. It's like I always find it really interesting when rappers kind of talk about other rappers from the past in this same kind of tone as like other notable religious people. Or they make that distinction because to them it's extremely important, because these were like the heroes from their neighborhood. These were the heroes of their culture. Jesus has been whitewashed. Religion has been whitewashed. All
For
these
real.
things have been whitewashed.
For real.
These guys are these guys are like the creators of another form of black music, aka hip hop. You know, Nas literally wrote the Bible. You know, like the fact that we have Nas from, where is he from?
Queensbridge.
Queensbridge. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's from
Queensbridge militia.
Right. And these guys, Mobb Deep, Nas, it's like, rah, these people came from the same place I came from, you know, to people who lived there. These guys are like up on this level, and they've contributed to this beautiful art form, which is now taken over the world. But this is a guy from Queens, from the projects. There's something powerful in that. And for him to say that, like, somewhere between the corner stores churches, I found gangsters and God, being guided by the sun. Is it Jesus or Nas? I was 12. It ain't hard to tell, less it's 12. Yeah, see that thing there as well. It ain't hard to tell, which ties into the MJ thing as well, that I just said.
Yeah, absolutely right. You're seeing the depth
I'm seeing the depth.
field here.
Yeah.
Drake could never.
I knew 12 disciples. Day 12 was a rifle. It's the cycle. For my circle, started smoking squares. The barber said, you better shape up while you can, little man. Understand, black boys don't live long, we live fast. M-words have drive and still crash. Bro, every line I just said could be picked apart.
Oh, it's an essay. Every song is an essay in itself. You could write a thesis on this album. It's genius.
Yeah, like, and this is the thing with like coded language that I was saying, but on the other end of it is that I think a lot of people don't understand hip hop because it's always kind of stuck to its core a lot of the time. So, you know, the slang and stuff like that, it always creates the new slang. And, you know, sometimes you might not understand certain things if you don't understand the lifestyle of the people performing the song. So if you don't understand that 12 is a reference to police, then you're not going to understand when you know, Vic Mensa says, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, fuck 12, right? You might just think, oh, that sounds cool. No.
Yeah.
He's giving the song's called 16 shots, right? So I'm bucking back 16 shots, you know, and when he gets to 12, it's fuck 12. Because that's the attitude in the community. That's just another way of saying fuck the police. He's just doing it in a poetic way with the numbers. But you wouldn't understand that if you didn't know what 12 meant. You know, what's the Ice Cube or Ice-T song, that like 6 a.m, police knocking on my door? Because I think DJ Premier said this. That's when the police would do their raids, at 6 a.m. And you'd have to know that to understand the significance of got a knock at the door at 6 a.m. You know, who's knocking at my door? Just knowing it's feds knocking at your door, because you know in your community that's when people get raided by the police at 6 a.m. So if you're hearing a knock on your door at 6 a.m, the chances are it could be the police. But yeah, it's just things like that, man. It's just such a beautiful breakdown of like just culture and stuff, man.
Exactly. He paints a picture while dramatizing a stage play in front of your eyes. You can see it all playing out. That's
a good point. Yeah.
It's a masterful album. Like, you know,
100%, man. Souls for Sale, and then Sold Out, but spelt soul. Another beautiful song, beautiful beat, great composition in that. Just floating, man. Great sentiment, great feeling in that. I thought these two lines from the next song were quite interesting back in the day, when he says, I light a match for Miss Dash and Mr. West. It all falls down and then they come back wearing MAGA hats. So Miss Dash is referencing Stacey Dash, who said some kind of questionable comments, and people always kind of She's one of those. Yeah, she's like, and Mr. West obviously for Kanye.
Oh dear.
Yeah, sometimes they could be considered to be on a suspicious side of the fence. You know,
Exactly.
but I like the fact he says it all falls down because that's the Kanye
Because
West
the
song.
Kanye West,
Stacey,
yeah, exactly.
Stacey, I didn't realize till afterwards. I remembered. I was like, oh wait, no, Stacey Dash was the main woman in that video.
Correct.
It's just funny that it's them two are the ones that are like, who were, you know, especially Kanye West, who's the same guy who said on TV, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
And he's wearing the MAGA hat.
And then he's wearing the MAGA hat.
Yeah.
And it's strange. It's strange what's happened, you know. I like how he says that. I like a match for them. You know, it's almost like, you know, they're still my brother and sister. You know, I light a match. You know, back in the day, they were my guys.
I'll light a candle for the people they used to be before they sold out.
Yeah. Or it's almost like a match, like I want them to come home. You know, maybe this could guide them back.
Yeah, maybe it's like a beacon in the darkness, like a torch in the darkness. I took it as like more like in mass, you light a candle in remembrance for somebody that's gone, because like, you know, I don't think they're coming back. Now, real talk, like like especially Souls for Sale though. Like I must admit the song composition is brilliant because it completely counteracts the heavy subject of the song.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know, Souls for Sale. I think basically we're hearing more and more artists like Murs said it, Doppelgangers touched on it. You know, we're seeing it. You know, when people say the industry is evil, DMX said the same thing. I think, you know, we're being told by these artists. In fact, no, I'm not even. I think we're being told by these artists that like you can make certain deals to get certain shit done and to get into a certain position. Murs, honestly, the way that he said it, I can't remember the exact line.
Oh yeah.
When he says I don't do that, that's evil, or something like that. Can't remember the exact line, but it's just cemented it in my head now. Like the reason why I think that this album has so much depth to it is because there isn't the committee of executives behind them, you know, pushing out a sloppy product that's just going to sell. We spoke about it in the Drake, in the Views review, where we were saying, like, you know, Drake had this great concept for an album, but he was looking at, you know, the world change around him, you know, over a period of a year. But when it comes to the makeup of the album, it's there's no concept there. There's nothing. Correct. Yeah. So that might be an executive decision by people to just kind of trash the, you know, it doesn't matter about what you're doing. People don't care about what you're doing. Just make bangers. You know,
we just want numbers. You know,
that's correct. And I
put
think
this song higher up, put this song here, then that way people will listen. You know, that kind
exactly. Just think about the singles. Drake. Think about the singles. Yeah, exactly. You know, if Drake was to put out a conscious album, like his own personal 444, right now, I don't think people. I don't know if he's got enough like cash in the bank with people's expectations. Like, I don't know if he's got that cultural clout at the moment, even though he is a massively selling artist. Yes, he's selling well, but I don't know if he's got cultural impact. Whereas Jay-Z sold, but he always trod that line of selling really well, but also being culturally relevant. I don't know how he did it. So when he dropped 444, perfect timing, because he had the controversy and all of that. With, I was going to say Rihanna, with Beyonce. But there is talk that he slept with Rihanna. But anyway, that's a different story.
There is talk,
But yeah, like I don't know if Drake has enough, cash in the bank with regards to you know, his fans and also the cultural sort of look to do that. So we'll see. I mean, especially on this song, when it comes to, there's like a little bit in the background, I think, in the end where it says I wonder why they stay high. They don't want to stay low. So I think that is a shot in the dark of, well, you look at the drug addiction, you look at the alcohol abuse, you look at the other abuses that, you know, some of these celebrities look shell-shocked half the time, like genuinely, you know, like take Billie Eilish, for example. I don't know anything about her, right? But I saw there was what happened the other day, some kind of to do where, like, you know, Little Nas X was being Little Nas X, really, and
Yeah.
it was some kind of like dress up event. I don't know if it was awards or something.
It was the Met Gala or something like that.
Oh, that bullshit. Yeah, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some horse shit, right?
Yeah.
And like Billie Eilish turned up in this dress, and I was like, this is the first time I've seen her in years, because I was like, hang on, wait, what? You know,
Right.
like, why the sudden transformation? I thought you were all about like green hair and like baggy trousers and stuff like that.
What
Like,
does she look like?
she had this like
I didn't
massive dress on, like this massive peach
yeah.
dress, and she's got like blonde hair now. And I was like, wait, hang on a minute, why the transformation? And then I'm thinking, how old is she, or how young is she? Because has she hit 21? And like the industry execs have kind of said, oh, now that you're, you know, of age, so to speak, now we're gonna like Marilyn Manson you up, you know, Marilyn Manson,
right,
yeah, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, I was going to say Marilyn Manson.
Sorry, Marilyn Monroe. Listen, I'm operating on less than 4 hours sleep right now, so
no, fair enough, man, fair enough,
and broken sleep at that, but but yeah, Marilyn Monroe kind of treatment. And it's like, you could just see she just didn't look comfortable. And it's like, who's making the decisions for you? And that's why I think the industry is kind of evil, like in the sense that you're an artist, you should just be able to do as you know, live as you want, but you shouldn't have the external pressures of just trying to look a certain way and make a certain amount of money.
Really yeah.
Because that takes away, as Immortal Technique says, and as I always say, opportunity comes at the price of the soul in the music. And that is what I'll underline this point with. Sorry to be rambling and stealing your thunder.
I think that was I need more thunder, to be fair. But I'm thinking about your Drake point. I think it's a really, really interesting point, because I think from Drake, if he did it well, because I feel like it's in him to do it. If he actually opened up and, you know, let people in, because, you know, listening to his newest album, I actually realized that I actually don't want a rap album from him anymore. I get bored of him rapping. I actually just give me some cool sounding R&B songs and summer songs, because at least then I'm not like listening to your lyrics. I'm not. I'm into the vibe. You know,
you're just feeling the vibe. Yeah,
I'm just feeling the vibe. Just give me that, because you're good at that. Whereas when I hear him rap, I'm just not interested in what he's saying anymore, because he doesn't. It's just quotable lines, you know, but he's not really saying much, and it gets a bit boring. You know?
Yeah, correct, mate.
I used to like that stuff back in the day, because he was sounded a bit more hungry, because he was still new, and he was like, I think, relishing when he got, you know, more and more famous. He was relishing his time at the top. Now it just seems like he's kind of bored of being at the top. And
I agree.
You know, so now it's coming. For me personally, it's coming through in that side of his music. And as a rapper, you know, you tend to be quite personal about things. You know, your things that are happening with you tend to come out through the music, and his boredom is coming through. So, you know, or his kind of apathy towards it. So I think musically, if he was to put out a 444 where he really, really did, you know, put his all into that and really showed himself and opened up, and, you know, didn't just have a few throwaway lines about his kid and stuff like that, which now he sounds like he's trying to tread that water now, or make up, like catch up for that, since he got exposed. Now it's like every other line, you know, every line on it so is, oh, I've got this and an adorable kid, or, oh, you know, this and that. It's like, okay, cool. Do you want to expand on that a little bit? No? Okay, cool. I don't know what the fuck else you're rapping about now. And so I think a 444 kind of album from him would be cool for someone like me if he did it well. But in terms of the cultural significance, I think you're right. I feel like there is a difference between him and Jay-Z like that. Jay-Z has this deeper impact on the culture and on the game. And I don't feel that with Drake. So there's that other aspect. So yeah, you're right. That's why I probably can't see that happening. You know, he has to keep his hold on the game by, again, probably doing the kind of album that I want him to make at this point, realistically, which is like actually maybe only 1 or 2 songs of him rapping, the rest being just vibes and singing and summer jams, whatever, you know what I mean? I think that's, I've never thought of it like that until you said that. I don't know if he has the cultural significance in a deeper way, not just numbers. I don't care about him charting here and doing this many
Correct.
streams here. I'm talking about deep cultural significance in the same way Jay-Z has had. And we'll find out in the future if Drake's, again, like I keep saying, Drake could be that guy who's like, do you remember Drake? He was on top for so long. That guy, do you remember that? Where did he go? Or he could be like Jay-Z, where it's like he disappears and people are like, where is Drake? You know, where is he? What's he doing? I wonder, you know? We don't know until
it
10
happens.
years in the future now. Until it happens, we don't know what the memory is going to be at this point. You know, streams are all
tell
good
you my
now.
memory of him. Listen, I'm sorry. I've told you before. He is inconsequential. He is literally a flash in the pan. He will not have lasting. You'll only remember him just by numbers. That's it. You know, he did numbers. That's it. Not for, do you remember that song when he changed the world? Or do you remember that song where he really impacted the culture at all? He's not going to have like I don't know, like Dilated Peoples. Like most people who love hip hop know at least Worst Comes to Worst by Dilated People. It's one of the pillars of hip hop, right? And I wouldn't say that they were necessarily the best.
No,
but
I wouldn't either.
They still had for me, more cultural impact than say Drake would, because they mattered to the culture. Do you know what I mean? I think Drake does matter, but it's only for sales, and that's all he's about, because he hasn't demonstrated anything else for many, many years now.
Yeah, because he hasn't really innovated or changed the game. Like when he comes out with a new album, it's just the same old Drake, which is, you know, good if you're into that. But then you can't really expect more from him at this point. I don't think people do expect more from him at this point. But yeah, you're right. I actually can't think of an album of his where I'm like, yeah, hip hop needed that.
Correct.
You know what I mean? The culture needed that. Like it could have just, whereas if you took away To Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City or any other albums like that, the whole kind of landscape would be different. You take away a Kanye album, quite a few Kanye albums. It's like, damn, it would be quite different. Take away the Marshall Mathers LP from Eminem.
Oh, don't.
It's like the scene would be quite different. But but take away Take Care. Nothing was the same. If you're reading this, it's too late. Take away Views. I think the culture would have continued as normal. You know,
correct.
You know, I think it would have just been okay. You know, I'm glad those albums exist, because there's some, you know, there's a lot of good stuff on there. I like Drake personally. And a lot of that stuff soundtracked my my university times and stuff like that.
Of course,
but
mate, yeah.
In terms of culture, not every album has to have cultural significance, but I think sometimes people overstate Drake's musically cultural significance. But anyways, I don't know how we're back on Drake again.
Sorry, it's my fault.
Maybe this is part of his cultural significance that he just keeps feeding his way into.
It's because like we haven't spoken for ages and loads of music's come out.
And Drake has dropped a new album.
And Drake has dropped a new album. He's dropped Certified Load of Bollocks. You know, Donda came out. We haven't even touched on Kanye's like hot mess of an album. But there are some really
touching on it.
Do you know what though? There are moments on there where I'm like, yeah, this is brilliant.
Yeah,
but it's too far.
Just moments. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, too far and too few between. I could, you know, I just don't enjoy. Anyway, off. Look, but isn't it funny though? The thing is though, I actually think that this is it's credence to you know, the cultural impact of say Drake and Kanye, right? But the fact that these artists, these caliber of artists, are coming up in this conversation that we're having about Add-2, and I think that this is a very I think this is showing you, like, and showing the listener, hopefully, just how important like Add-2's album is, in the sense that these artists I don't think they can touch how complete this album is.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, as much as Kanye has changed the world in a bit with his music, I don't think he's put an album together like this.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends. I think some people could potentially argue, I don't know if Kanye's ever put an album together like this in terms of its conscious kind of social themes and stuff like that. yeah, no, it's an interesting thought because someone like Kanye and Drake who've dropped this year from this kind of like you said, of their caliber. It's but yet the way we're talking about their music is very kind of there's sparks of it in there. There's moments in there, and we're holding on to that as whereas someone like Add-2's in the kind of underground, maybe it's because they built up the clout, but someone like Add-2, he's putting together this beautiful complete project. He'll probably be held to this higher standard of any dips in quality or anything that people don't like. It's like they'll pick that song and be like, see, this is why Add-2 could never be in the conversation with Drake. Compare these two songs, and then they'll start jumping into things like how many numbers they do, how many streams they get, how many fans.
I don't understand this. That's not a metric to good music at all.
At all.
And it never has been.
People need to stop this shit about, it charted in this and it got this many streams. Well, of course Drake is going to do that. Drake can sing, can rap. He makes all these different types of music which appeal to all kinds of people, which is great, which is fine. But then you can't compare that to someone who makes, a certain type of music and has a certain type of sound, and they stick to that because they don't make Afro beats as well as hip hop, as well as R&B, as well as this. There's nothing to say that one is better than the other. If anything, Drake just has, of course he has a far wider reach. I mean, of course he does. And that's why he's so popular. But you could have people who are just, you have loads of artists who have a far, a range in terms of their reach, but they aren't as talented as some other, they're not very good rappers, for example, or they're okay rappers. But you have an extremely skilled rapper who doesn't get the same type of acclaim. Well, because they make stuff that's maybe a bit more niche. Yeah. So numbers is not enough. Put those two in a ring. Metric. It's not at all. Put those two in a ring, take away all the other stuff, and have them compete on a certain quality together, right? So pick a lyrical song from each of them, and then put it head to head. Okay, now what are we talking? Now who's coming out on top? Put them together in the ring as rappers. Who's moving the crowd more? Who's rapping over these kind of beats? Who's more versatile? Whatever you want to do. Numbers, streams, sales. Who gives a shit? But which I think ties into this this kind of thing. At least this album. But anyways, coming back. Do you know who Brittany Carter is? No,
I don't.
I'd never heard of her before, but she's on Back in the Day, and she had a really nice verse on that. Mm-hmm. So shout to her. Mama Said Skit. This is the one where he talks about the whole being a monster thing, right? Being seen as a monster, but he's not one. And he says something about I don't want to be seen as a monster, or it's kind of cool that I'm seen as a monster, but I'm a friendly monster, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he says, but I thought it was quite interesting the way he kind of said it. And then
just fear of one thing. Sorry, bro. Just about Back in the Day. The music. I can't tell you how much I love it, especially in the middle bit where the drums fade out and it's just this lovely saxophone bass harmony. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's it's beauty. Anyway, I just had to mention that. Sorry. I would have mentioned it in real time, but people just coming in to.
I was going to say, you seem a bit distracted. Yeah,
I am a bit distracted. I got loads of, I've just got loads of stuff. My mum's here at the moment. My little brother's here at the moment. Sons. So it's. And then So
okay, fair enough. We'll make this work. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
At least we got it started.
Hey, listen, man, it's all good. We got 14 minutes left. If we run over, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, cool. Let's bang through this
because I think this album, I think it needs this kind of time.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. It deserves it. Yeah, it's stunning.
Fear of God. It's a cool interlude type track. It's not my favorite, so I'm glad they kept it kind of short. But it keeps the album kind of moving along as a whole.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't have much to say about it. It must be a live drummer as well. Got to be a live drummer.
Yeah, 100%. But the next song though, Jump the Broom. That is one of my favorites on here. I have that song, that chorus stuck in my head sometimes, rent free.
Yeah, for real. I mean,
I know
saxophone.
Yeah, the music is beautiful. The singing is, I think it's his wife on there singing.
Yeah,
he says it.
Yep, it's dedicated to his wife. Yeah, and then there's
Yeah.
an Outcast reference, isn't there? You know, forever, forever, ever,
Oh yeah,
forever,
forever.
ever.
Oh yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
does that. I love it. But anyway,
I like the interpolation of the '90s song, the 90s R&B, the "Tell Me" by Groove Theory. I love that song in general. So when I heard it here, I was just like, yes. But I couldn't figure out which song it was. And then when I realized, I was like, I fucking love that song. It's no wonder I love this one. But yeah, man. Even the way I like how he kind of goes inward on this one. So it's not, we've been dealing with a lot of kind of outward sociological, political stuff. And then he kind of goes inward into the whole breaking down the idea of love and love between people. What is it, like you said, what does it mean to be together forever, ever, forever, ever? Blue skies, stormy weather. What happens when this love fades? Do you change? Or do you say it's just a phase? Or do you stay? Or do you need some time to think, or time to get your shit together? Have you met somebody better than me for you? It makes me think just how the heart's connected to the head. The words we need to hear are rarely ones that's ever said. We'd rather live a lie, fronting knowing that who really got your back is the woman standing by your side. Things change when exchanging the rings, getting married, staying married. Well, that's two different things. I was looking for a queen and the Lord sent me something. I'm trying to be a king. You can be my law in London. Like, this whole verse kind of hit me quite hard and at the right time. And when he says at the end, God's greatest creation was definitely the woman. And I'm just like, well, I mean, who's going to debate that? So it's just, the whole song kind of fits together so nicely. And he's just so good at conveying the concepts and the topics in a way that's accessible, but the way it's still deep. It's not sacrificing any of the depth of the subjects itself.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. There's one problem. Go on.
Yeah, go on. No.
I was going to say, one problem I have with Kendrick, his album Damn.
Oh yeah.
Is that, he has these one-word song titles, and my problem is on that album in particular, he doesn't fully explore them in depth, some of them. So like, there's a song called Love, and it's like he doesn't really, it's a nice song, but he doesn't really dive into the topic deep enough.
I can't remember it off the top of my head at the moment.
I want to be with you. Yeah. I want to be with you. Love me. I want to be. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
yeah. I was trying to think of what's the bit that's always the catchy part of that. He's got a song with Rihanna called Loyalty. Again, great song, but lyrically it feels like he doesn't really go in depth. And it's weird for someone like Kendrick to do that. It's not really, especially if they're going to be these one-word titles. You think that it's going to be all based around that concept, but then he doesn't really do it. People really love that album, and I do as well.
Definitely.
But for me, actually, funny enough, it's one of Kendrick's albums that I skip around quite a bit, and I feel like it loses its steam after the song like Lost. So that's about 8-9 songs in, and but the thing is that the songs that I do like are just so high in quality that it kind of really makes up for it, which is quite rare for a lot of albums. But it also makes it a bit more frustrating that I don't think he really executed some of those other topics that deeply. Whereas Add-2 kind of really does do it, but he doesn't do it in a way where the songs are all 5-6 minutes long and they're all
correct. It's very, very succinct.
It's still succinct,
but it's also, as we're talking, it's super heavy, isn't it?
Yeah. There's definitely some heavy stuff in here, but I feel like a lot of it is also conveyed in such a kind of musically accessible way, or in a good way, and it's particularly heavy when it needs to be. like in the skits. I think the skits help move it along quite a lot, and the whole musical thing, like the Black in America skit, the whole "they called me the N-word," and it's a good summation of race kind of relations and stuff in America. Again, it adds nicely to the whole musical presentation of the album as well. Yeah, and then the song Hashtag, it has this couplet, there's 2 lines that just hit hard. Like, my cousin wanted me to teach him to drive. I told him nah because I'm trying to keep him alive.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, have you seen the movie Queen and Slim?
No, I have not.
It's got, what's that guy's name? Michael, the guy from Get Out, the main guy.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, what's his name? I completely
Daniel
forgot.
Kaluuya.
Why did I think Michael? Daniel Kaluuya, yeah. That's
because all black people look alike to you. Flipping racist. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me. Hey, you heard it here first, people. Like, Kaedee said that.
Yeah, obviously I was thinking of Michael Jordan, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. That aside, in that movie, he at the beginning, he's literally just driving home from a date, and he gets pulled over by the police, and the police guy just fully goes in because he just didn't indicate at one point. He forgot to, or he didn't stop at a certain point. And we know as the viewers that he's done nothing wrong. He's just with this girl, and they're talking, and then he gets pulled over, and she's a lawyer, and then she tries to tell the police officer, like, no, I'm this and that, I'm a lawyer, I know this, you don't have the right to do this, but he's proper going in, and then he ends up shooting one of them and all that sort of stuff. And the guy's like, look, the guy's just literally doing everything he's told to do, because he's trying to tell the woman, like, look, don't do anything, don't even reach into your jacket.
Yeah.
That would be, he's like, they have to say openly, I'm reaching for my license, I'm doing this.
So scary.
Yeah. And those 2 lines, the whole, my cousin wanted me to teach him to drive, this kind of idealistic kind of, what's the word when you're a bit naive about things? I can't think of the exact word, but when as a kid you have this kind of view of the world, and I feel like it starts with an I. I'm not sure, but it's like, but yes, you
infantile view, sheltered view.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the word is, but yeah, I don't know if idealistic was the word, but the right word or not.
There you go.
Like it's something else. Was it idealistic? I don't know. Yeah, it's like to the child, it's just, oh, I want to drive. I want to learn how to drive. Can you teach me? The older cousin is like, he's seen the world a bit more. He's seen it for what it is. And it's like, no, I want to keep you alive.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm seeing any white people say that to each other, unless they're so scared that their child or family member will get into an accident. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to being pulled over and potentially killed for no reason.
For no reason. Yeah. True that.
It ties into the whole hashtag thing. The music on this works great with the concept, and also like the pitch shifting on the vocals. I think he's got the deeper voice, and it's digitally altered, and it makes him seem like he's other, like he's not human.
Yes,
that's what I got from it. Yeah, and then it goes back to the raw vocals in the second verse as he gets more passionate and almost like desperate. And he
man, there are so many good lines in this.
Literally, yeah, and he starts saying things about this is the song where he starts saying, I need someone to call for help, but everyone's just bringing out their phones, or something. So they're just filming it. I don't want to be another hashtag.
Oh,
it's like that's what you get.
Barely believe the things you see in the news. They shoot you instead of putting your head in the noose. Oh,
yeah.
And then like just images like just images of like George Floyd and stuff just like pop up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not in the mental space for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know what you mean. The next song, Nappy Hair, beautiful vibes in the beat, the whole black love, all that kind of vibes. It's just a good feel-good song. Didn't really write much else for that.
Oh man, I'm gonna be annoying.
Go on.
Right, hang on. So back to hashtag, just a quick thing.
Okay.
I just love the way he says they play it on repeat so your eyes are desensitized to the crime that they, being the people, they commit.
Yeah.
Why are you calling them officers when they're really overseers? And the pain in his voice is really hard to listen to, especially when he says the most important black man is a dead one. And then the way in which the organ starts to play, sort of like towards the end, it becomes a funeral procession.
Yeah,
especially when you hear the sirens, in the sense, in the death of, it's not only the death of black people, it's the death of common decency, where we boil down and we are so desensitized to death that we will boil it down to just a trending Twitter hashtag so we can remove ourselves from the situation, and then just, it becomes a hashtag, then something else will become trending, and then we'll forget about it. That is,
crazy, right?
And then you come into nappy hair, where I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. So this is another infringement on sort of like black people. So like, what I mean? Like I've you're going from a hashtag, and then it's just like, oh, your hair's really nice. Can I touch it? Just like, bitch, please. No, you can't.
Right.
And plus, I don't have any hair anymore.
Stop feeling the fuzziness on my head. Cause we've been there. But yeah.
And not the one on my shoulders. All right.
Oh man,
sorry, too much Family Guy and not enough sleep.
Fair enough. Homecoming. This is like this is like really different from the other songs. It's like a switch up in terms of the musicality. More of like a bag of feel, because it's been kind of fairly even kill up until this point. So this switch up, I think, is like comes at the right point. Quite anthemic, and it's a bigger song than the others in terms of its pure sound,
and more neo soul than I remembered. This one I thought was really good.
Yeah. So this is a good banger, because I wouldn't, colloquially could probably say the other songs like, oh yeah, that's a banger, but it's not like in the traditional meaning of the word banger.
Agreed.
Yeah. Slave awareness skit. But to become free, you have to be acutely aware of being a slave.
Oh, I mean,
Nietzschean kind of philosophy in there.
Yeah. The less you think about your oppression, the more your tolerance for it grows.
Yeah. Then Willie gets lynched.
Yep. Nice light topic.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a powerful song. I always find it weird when in beats when there's like a drum roll, that's the snare. So there's no actual snare. Every time you think the snare's going to hit, there's just a drum roll. It's weird to me because I'm expecting like the kind of more solid nation of the beat, but it works in this song. I'm not even going to quote any lyrics from this one. I just think everyone should just go and listen to it.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Just go listen to it. Have the lyrics up if you want to read along, or just listen and take it in. Listen twice, in fact. So
yeah, agreed.
I'm not even going to say any more on that one. I mean, even the title alone. Read up on the whole Willie Lynch thing, to understand the kind of significance of the title of that. Wings, Please Don't Leave. The beat was weird at first, but I got with it. Another weird kind of snare drum roll, falling claps or whatever that sound is. Again, which took a little bit of getting used to, but another beautiful song. And again, one that's kind of gone from the more sociological thing and political thing of the Willie Gets Lynched song before it. Now it's switching back into a more inward thing where he's talking about the passing of his grandmother and just his own personal kind of grief. So this is a beautiful song, and it makes sense to put it towards this latter end of the album. And then the closing song, Soul Searching. This is a great closer to the album.
Featuring Natalie, is it Oliver?
I can't remember her name.
Natalie Oliver.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. I didn't write it down, but this is a great closer to the album. He brings it all back to himself, his personal journey, truly finding himself as an individual and discovering his true sense of self through the entire musical that's been played out across the album. So, he's kind of self-actualizing throughout. That's the kind of the story.
Correct.
he's part of the community, but he's also himself, individual, separate, but still connected. And I think he sums it up in that ancestors quote at the end, which gave me shivers, because it gave me goosebumps at the end. I can't remember the exact quote, but there's something about kind of having his ancestors with him.
Yeah, he says, it says, it's our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. Sincerely, your ancestors.
Right, that's it.
Chills, mate.
Even then, when you just said it, I just thought,
this album is unbelievable. Genuinely, I can't even.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, as well, the music just hasn't missed. There isn't, like, for me, there is not a bad song on this flipping album.
Yeah, I don't
a bad
think
song
I
on this
could say
album.
there's a bad song. There's songs that I like more than others.
Definitely.
Well, actually, only like a couple that I like less than the others. So it's not even that. It's actually just a couple songs that, if you had to ask me what my least favorite were, then there's going to be like one or two, right?
Sure.
That's the nature of the question. But bad songs, or songs that take away from the experience, or take away from the project, I don't think I could say that. But yeah, the fact that he kind of self-actualizes, but I think sometimes some people get this idea, and I don't know how you feel about this, but like as people or as society, we have this, some people in like spiritual circles will say that there's this illusion of self or separation, that we're all connected and that we're all one. Some people take it to an extreme where they think that, you shouldn't have any sense of self, and you shouldn't, there's no individuality, almost like a denial of self, to become just one, one with the universe, one with God or whatever, right? And then there's the other end where it's purely individualized. It's all about you, and it's all about what you can get for yourself.
Correct.
You're in this, you're born alone, you die alone, so you get everything for yourself. It doesn't matter, what is this person going to do for you? If they don't contribute anything to your life, drop them. If you're not getting this, drop it. You see that
disposable.
Yeah, you see that on social media a lot. It's all under this umbrella of like hustle culture and self-help and stuff like that. And I think both approaches are a bit too extreme. Whereas I like it on this, where he's kind of drawn it out throughout this whole album, that you can still be part of a community and be an individual. You don't have to have it one way or the other. We can still all be connected as human beings, but retain our sense of individuality and self, because that's the kind of beauty of it, that all the different personalities and individuals are connected, through some way. It doesn't mean that we're all just one being or something, and you have to deny yourself. I've never been a fan of those kind of philosophies of like denying yourself or denying your life. I've been more into like affirming
yourself,
affirming your individuality. I'm all about that, but still being, that doesn't mean being selfish. It means, it
means being
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It means, finding your place, basically. If you are happy to sort of have reverence for, a being or a particular set of beliefs in your life, you make time for that. You improve through, faith. And then if you don't have faith, you improve that way too. I mean, like whatever works for you, we're all just trying to do our best out here. And that I think is, that's the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think sometimes we lose this sense of community. Sometimes there's a lot of over individualism, and it can be, and again, it may be a kind of capitalist thing as well, where it's like, you go for your own, you hustle for your own money, for your own progress. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. You do you.
Well, that's why you got billionaires, and that's just like a sickness in itself, though.
Yeah, it's crazy that you get billionaires in the first place.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a totally separate like conversation, but it is very much, it's all about balance, I think, and understanding your place within society, or within your family, whatever. It's about finding yourself, and exactly what you 100%. Said, basically, mate. It's really, really spot on, actually.
So yeah, all in all, this was a great album.
I'm interested to know about your score.
Yeah, even I'm interested in my score because again, I wrote these notes like 3-4 weeks ago, I think, at this point. My score is an 8.5.
I'm pleased with that.
Okay, I assumed it would be higher for some reason when I looked at it.
I would score this. For me, it's like a 9.5. I think I think it's up there.
I think talking through it now has actually changed it to a 9. It's like
it's
still sunk in. I think at the time it was like, okay, am I going to come back to this again too often? Or, okay, can I remember too many things from it? Or this, and that. And at the time, maybe when listening through it and making the notes, I was thinking, yeah, 8.5, that sounds right. Give it time to grow into something more. It probably will. That time has happened, and actually talking through it has actually, I feel like, pumped up the score for me. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to change it to a 9 because that felt, looking at that 8.5 didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. So this is going to be a 9 out of 10. What did I give D'Angelo? 9 out of 10?
9. Oh, I think it was a 9.5, right?
That's
or was it a 9?
Album. I don't know, but that's an amazing album. Still,
oh, it's a game changer.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I've been listening to that again, but I've been listening to it like live, like when he did it when it first came out, like live. Oh my goodness, D'Angelo was a killer.
Yeah, D'Angelo, what a guy. I still need to listen to the second one, Voodoo.
Listen to it, man.
That one out.
Yeah, man, listen to it.
He has 3 albums, right? Because then there's that Black Messiah one.
Black Messiah, yeah. It's D'Angelo and the Vanguard. I think that was 2014.
Yeah, 2014. Yeah, something.
Something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, my top 5 from this album. Bear in mind that this album's like 19 tracks, but I don't know how many exact actual songs I'd have if you take away the skip.
I think it's 14 songs.
Okay. So picking the top 5 is quite hard, but I think I'm happy with my picks. Secret Life of Blacks, obviously.
Amazing.
Young N-Word Maintain.
Yep.
Back in the Day.
Yep.
Jump the Broom, definitely. 100%. That and Secret Life of the Blacks and Soul Searching are my favorite songs off this. Soul Searching, that's the number 5 pick. An amazing song. Amazing closer to the whole album as well.
It's so good.
Beautiful. I would suggest that people, when they have the time, to just go and have a listen to this. And if you're not going to, necessarily, if this gets put on the back burner and you need to kind of weigh in, then, someone like who's more mainstream, like Kendrick, if you haven't listened to Pimp a Butterfly, go and listen to that. I'm sure you've heard songs like All Right and Black of the Berry and whatever else. So go and check out. And which the live version, which is on the album, is so much better than the original version, the single version. So much better. Go and listen to Pimp a Butterfly. If you're a Kendrick fan, and I'm not hearing to Pimp a Butterfly come up in the conversation, I don't know what you listen to, right? I don't know why that's been skipped out. Listen to that album. These Walls, amazing song. But listen to that album, especially now that I think people, especially people, I want to say people without color, have a bit more of a conscious for some of the things that people with color go through, or people of whatever you want to call them, kind of experience or go through. Maybe when in 2015, when albums like that came out, you couldn't really necessarily resonate. Now would be a good time to kind of listen to something like that, and then hopefully that will get you into listening to something like this, which is a bit more underground, bit longer, has a bit more of actually like a drawn out kind of. Actually, it's a similar thing because this has the musical concept or the musical element, kind of stage play thing, like you said, kind of mapped out throughout the album. Kendrick's one has the poem that keeps building on itself until it gets to the end and he reads it out. And the ending of that album, just goosebumps every time as well.
For real, yeah.
If you haven't heard that album, I'm not going to spoil who's at the end of it. But even, I want to explain the alternate name that he had for the album as well. But then that will ruin the thing at the end.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I know what you're on about.
Yeah. Okay. So to anyone listening, listen to Pimp a Butterfly again, even if you've heard it before. Listen to it again, and then hopefully, you'll start to that'll be the gateway into listening to an album like this, an album like Drogas Wave by Lupe Fiasco, an album like The Allegory by Royce da 5'9", and I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but there are definitely more. But yeah, 100%, this was a great album, and thank you for finally giving this to me to listen to, because I kept meaning to listen to it, and then you mentioned it on the podcast, and I was like, okay, I need to just check it out. And then you told me to wait until you give it so that we could discuss it. And I'm glad we did, even though it took fucking forever to actually get to this episode.
I know, but I think this is there. We've done it. Yeah. We've done it justice. I mean, I think we've done it justice. I genuinely, I do think it's, in my opinion, I get that same feeling. I was a kid when D'Angelo came out, but I knew it in my bones that it was a classic. And this is what I feel with this album. For me, it's got the potential to be, well, for me, it's a classic album for me. Sure. And I would recommend this wholeheartedly. I'll be like, look, if I'm going to spend the rest of my life on an island, and I can only listen to 5 CDs, this is among those 5 CDs. No problem. Yeah. And it's one of those that like I would listen to like once a year. Like, right. You don't need, you can't bang it, but you need, it's important. I think it's just an important
album. 100%. I think it's a really important album, and it's done very well. And I think it can be off-putting to be and Loki's soundtrack to the struggle too.
Well played.
We did talk about that one on this podcast. So that is another one to listen to. But again, some of these can sometimes come off a bit intimidating to people when they look at it and they hear about it and they hear that, because I think everyone's kind of like, I don't want to hear that conscious shit. I don't want to hear that. It's going to be so heavy. I don't know. But you forget that these guys actually, a lot of them make this stuff accessible as well, because they're great musicians. So, don't be put off by the fact that there might be some heavy subject matter.
Yeah.
It's still built in a way that it's musically pleasurable. It's not just some drums and some guy just doing some slam poetry on you and trying to, reading out his essay on socio-political issues or anything like that. So, give some of these albums a chance. Just jump in, just dive in. Yeah. That's how I came across the Loki one. I just dived in. Yeah. I had that feeling of, it's going to be so heavy, but I just jumped in and I'm not turned back.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that album with me, because I mean, we chatted about that for 3.5 hours, like
3.5 hours. Yeah,
mate,
that was a great
discussion. I loved it. Yeah. That's probably one of my favorites that we've ever recorded, and I think this is our 38th one all in all. So yeah,
yeah, man, we did that one quite a while back, actually.
Yeah, a long time ago now. So
crazy, yeah.
Oh, but anyway, now's not the time to reminisce. I have a house full of madness. So what album are you giving me?
Okay, so what album am I giving you? It's going to be a departure from what we've been talking about, and also from 13th Floor, which I gave you last week. Javier Mighty. Sorry, not last week. Last episode. Yeah, we'll just pretend.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you Good AM by Mac Miller.
Never listened to Mac Miller before in my life, so it'll be a good.
Have you heard any of his music?
Never.
I had a feeling you wouldn't have, because I don't think we brought him up as much. But I think I'm interested to hear your take on his album.
I'm happy to listen to him finally. I'm happy there's a reason to listen to him, because I've heard he's really good. I've heard only good things about him, to be fair. So once I dive in, I'm sure there's going to be loads to discuss, actually, because he might fall into that category of controlled artist and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'll be really good to sort of decode and decipher any sort of messages or whatever in there. But yeah, man, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be fun for me to go back and listen to that album properly again. But he was another artist who was in this kind of like Tupac, who was in his like metamorphosis.
and then that's
his
it.
life was cut too short, unfortunately. So,
taken too soon.
Yeah, his latest album, Circles, was an indication of where he could have gone in his next phase of his career, but he just wasn't able to actualize it.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, of his life ending. You can hear it on Swimming, the album before Circles. It was kind of starting to turn towards that. And what's funny is that some people who don't like Mac Miller's music really liked Circles. So he could have even stepped into a whole new realm of fandom with the kind of the new sound that he was moving into. And back in the day, I don't know if a lot of people know this, he had this alter ego, or not alter ego, but this like producer name called Larry Fisherman. And he used to make these like jazz, like hip hop tapes and stuff like that. And it was just really cool. Like he's just, yeah, he had a lot of artistry and a lot of capability. But I'll be interested to hear your take on this album, right? Since you haven't heard much Mac Miller before. But yeah,
man.
That's that. Oh yeah, it's your time to shine now. I've forgotten how this works. Yeah. So outro time.
This is going to be short and sweet, guys. I would apologize for the delay in making this episode, but I'm busy. So, you know what I mean? You'll get what you're given. But if you did stick around and you've come back and you're, listening to us, thank you so much. Like, obviously it means the world to us. Get in touch, man. Get on the socials, because like our socials kind of looking dead these days. So like we need your help. It's like a barren wasteland out here. So, you know what I mean? Listen, I'm not going to be one of those, drop the YouTube video a like and subscribe and all of that stuff. But, you know what I mean? Throw your boy some love, will ya? Because I ain't got time to be like on social media these days. So you need to actually come to me, come to us. All right. Like, I'm tired of being nice. Like, fucking, like, help. If you like something, support it. Chris does. Hey.
Chris does. Why don't you fuckers do it as well?
You know what I mean? But no, to be fair though, you got some nice people. Some of your mates, like Helena is always one. Obviously, your lovely missus.
Shout outs.
Yeah, man, for real. Like, my brain's gone numb, but I can't remember anyone else. But there's a few like Stan. Oh, Amos as well. Always
Amos, my guy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Listen, I've not met you before, but you know, I mean, props to you. Gave everybody a 2-finger salute then as well. You know. Peace out to all of you. For any new listeners, thank you very much. I need to go because I've got a house full of people. So
safe.
All right.
Peace.
We missed that totally. Doesn't matter. It's staying in. It's a mess. Right.
Calm.